This week's scenario is Entrenched from the 2016 Steamroller package. The scenario does not have the Killbox Artifice effect and consists of two rectangular zones. The friendly zone can be dominated for 1 CP. The enemy zone can be controlled for 1 CP or dominated for 2 CPs, but not until the enemy objective has been destroyed for 1 CP. Victory conditions consist of 5 control points or caster assassination.
Hey everybody, Taodark here. This week I'm going to be dropping my Cephalyx. I'm playing Cyphon. I've pretty much locked in my Extoller list, so I've been playing with the Cyphon list. And this list basically kind of takes the whole concept of trying to get free Overlords through Drudges and tosses it out the window and just rather pay for the Overlords to get more work and less bodies just for the sake of bodies.
Pokey here, and today I decided to run Xerxis 2, the Fury Halaak, and to debut the Desert Hydra. I actually kind of like the beast. I think it has a lot of potential, and that's why I'm playing it. But I also have the Keltarii, the Legends, and a couple solos in there to round out the list. Alright, I can't remember if I got first or second on this, but my thought process was to line my caster up for my zone, the Desert Hydra for the far zone, and then Tibi in the middle to kind of take up the center position, hoping to allow him to get wherever he needed to. The rest of my force is kind of around that. I have the Keltarii towards the top, mostly because I wanted them to be able to protect my zone from anything, from his, what is that, the unit that comes in off the side. So my thought was I'd be able to use them to help clear out single wood infantry.
So for my deployment, there's a couple pieces of terrain that I'm looking at. One, my zone on the right-hand side is semi-protected by an obstruction. So I'm going to be deploying some of my Overlords on the right-hand side because I can use the Overlords to kind of clean out anything he puts into my zone that's infantry-based, and then if he tries to sneak anything around the building, the Overlords don't need line of sight in order to spray, and I can just spray through the building in order to catch anything that's on the other side, protecting my zone even further.
Alright, turn one. Alright. The Keltarii, I pretty much just had them run up. I was making sure I left myself a little hole for Xerxis to run up into. The Willbreaker moved forward, put Hardened Flesh up on the Keltarii to give them tough. And then Tiberion ended up running. The nice thing about Xerxis 2 is his battle group gets +2 speed. So that really helps speed up a lot of the force there. So Tiberion can actually run 12 the first turn. The Desert Hydra under that is allowed to run 14 inches, which he also ran forward. And then the Legends of Halaak ran forward, trying to get as far forward as possible. I trampled with Xerxis to get that little extra distance, and then I put up Rapport on the Desert Hydra and Ignite up on the Keltarii.
Mercenaries, turn 1. So he's advanced up, but he hasn't advanced up for any engagement, and I'm not going to just run straight forward and give him the opportunity to feat and gobble up my entire army. So basically I'm going to pre-measure to see what is the threat range of a charging Hydra and a charging Tiberion, and basically kind of lay out a little marker for this is as far as I can go to prevent me from getting a charge. So I'm basically going to force my opponent to take 2 turns of run. He may end up playing to block me out of my zone. The Hydra's got a very large base. The force is kind of in the way, but the fact that I have Onslaught, I'm not necessarily too worried about the force gumming me up from getting into my zone to prevent him from scoring in my zone. And I have a feat that I'm going to leverage to remove potentially the Hydra and Tiberion, and then just use the rest of my army to whittle down through attrition and get to his caster. From a gameplay standpoint, I'm either looking for an assassination or potentially running to into my zone and just going for a slow scenario win as the game carries on. So I advance up and basically pass it over to my opponent. He's going to have to run twice in order to get in any engagement range.
Alright, turn 2. I was actually hoping for a little bit more of a reckless abandon on Taodark's side to just rush those guys forward. I was hoping to get a turn 2 engagement with the Desert Hydra. Unfortunately, he just kind of meandered forward. Kind of made for an interesting first turn, and now I'm measuring out to see where those ambushing, wherever those guys are, because I want to make sure that I don't get stuck with, have them be able to charge me on the side. Keltari's basic plan is to hold that outer area, and so their plan with them is to have them charge the monstrosities, and then other people kind of fill in the backspace there. And now we're just trying to measure to see who's in, who's not in on the monstrosities to get the charge ability. That guy ended up running, and the rest are going to end up just running forward, keeping everybody in command. Then I made my swings. Nice thing about the Keltarii is when you put them at night up on them, they're POW 12. Yeah, they only got a single swing, but they can do that initial, let's hope that something happens, hope for a crit hit, and hopefully that somebody will be caught on fire. So the Willbreaker advances and puts up hardened flesh on the unit, and as you saw, I was able to. I forgot I had two of the models back there, and Taodark was very kind and allowed me to push them up into the fray up there. Now I have the legends activating, and I believe one of them was able to charge, and then the rest ended up running. So here's where I didn't realize that. Oh no, I didn't charge. I had them all run. The thing I did not realize was that that those guys, their sprays are magic, not ranged attacks. So I ran the legends up in there to try to engage them from shooting me, not realizing it was a spell. I did upkeep both Rapport and Ignite, and when I advanced the Desert Hydra, I attempted to do his one shot that allows him to do the range 10. Unfortunately, I ended up missing my targets, so I think I hit one of the floaty guys and one of the monstrosities. Beast Handlers advanced forward. They did their thing, and then the Extoller ran forward to go towards my zone.
Mercenaries, turn 2. So as I said before, I was hoping to leverage my feat to actually get both Tiberion and the Hydra, looking for Tiberion to potentially play more of a body blocker in front of Xerxis. He's instead put Tiberion behind the Hydra, so that way I have to kill the Hydra to get to the Tiberion, and I don't necessarily have the threat to get that far. He's also put in the Legends of Halaak into the zone, and since the Overlords sprays are magical, I can actually be engaged and still pull them off. Since they're not actually range attacks. So what I'm doing is the one that's kind of got two of my Overlords engaged at the bottom, I'm kind of swiveling them around him, still staying within his 2-inch melee range, but swiveling them around him to spray the Legend of Halaak further back. The idea behind it being is that the three who are kind of at the bottom of the screen you can't hardly see are going to try and spray and kill the one behind the objective. Anybody who's left over can try and kill the one next to them that's currently got them engaged, and the one further off. And then the other unit is going to kill the one that's currently sitting in the woods. So we get some. I was going to try and do a target, but I clipped my own Cephalyx, so I changed my mind. I'm not going to roll that one. And then I'm going to go roll into the second Overlords to advance to kill the one legend that's in the zone, and potentially get a spray on the Hydra to weaken it up a little bit. So here I'm just kind of laying out using the pre-measure option to determine where is this Overlord unit going that is behind the obstruction going to go in order to pull off sprays to clear as many of these Keltarii out and get some spray damage done there. Again, magic attack, it's not a shooting attack, so Keltarii blade turning not going to come into effect, but it's just about getting the placement, getting the advancement and placement in order to kill enough of them to mitigate their ability to do any damage, to score any points or anything like that. Got to get them below that halfway point when you go into an engage, as well as removing enough of them so that way they're not going to necessarily be able to do a significant amount of damage to my beast or anything like that beyond engagement. So they're going to turn around and they're going to activate. I'm going to get them into position. I want to also use their sprays to potentially clear off the monstrosities that are currently gummed up by the Keltarii. So here we have, I believe it was, I was doing Cyphon. I wanted to see if he could spray to kill any of them. I kill a model. I'm not sure what model that was, but it was one of the scenarios if I had the option to put the spray down, and I took it. The other thing he had to do is he had to put up Onslaught, so that way the one of the wreckers that's at the bottom of the screen is going to be able to charge into through the forest in order to get the charge on the Hydra. I pop feet. I nominate all of my wreckers I nominate the 2 wreckers that are going to be charging into the Hydra, and I nominate the Warden that I have, the Pig Warden that I have, because I'm going to basically throw him forward to contest the zone once I've got it cleared up. Throw him forward to contest the zone, as well as to kind of be like, okay, Xerxis, I know it's just a Warden, and he's not really going to do a lot of damage, but he's here. What are you going to do about it? And because he's going to be under feet, he's going to have a higher armor value, so he can't necessarily ignore it. But at the same time, he can't. He's not necessarily threatened by it, if that makes any sense. All through this game, I'm going to be putting pressure on Xerxis to make sure, kind of keep him honest, keep him as far away from my caster as I can. So I ended up trying to go for the sprays. I ended up using the speed to allow me to trample. I'd love to be able to use the charge or counter charge to try and get the trample off. But in the end, I just end up kind of advancing him up and going for the boost. I think if I pulled off the trample, I was only going to get 2, and I'd rather get more. And again, I'm not necessarily looking for him to do a lot of work. I just want him to be there to threaten. So here the Overlords go. They're going to be the ones that are going to contest the zone. I just run them, and then the Agitator goes up to set up the agitation bubble, so that I can take out the Hydra. Really, this turn really boils down to using my feet to remove the Hydra, which I'm okay with. Like, in scale of feat usage, I'm okay with using a feat to remove a Gargantuan from the table. It seems like a solid trade to me. Again, I'd love to get Tiberion, but it wasn't presented to me, so. So going through a couple activations here with the melee unit, having them kind of punching the Hydras. One of the things I've learned with Cyphon is that on the feet turn, the more the army starts getting engaged, the less inclined he is to spend his focus. So I tend to use my own infantry to beat up my monstrosities to give them focus. So I go through. The first one goes in. I do a significant amount of damage with the one with the one wrecker that I have. A pretty good chunk actually. A couple of times I was rolling 5s and 6s, but it wasn't enough for just one. It would have been great if I did, but it wasn't enough. So I have to send in a second one, and I have to set it in an angle so that it's not going to that it's still going to have the 2-inch reach. So I send both of them in, and I've got my zone under control. I've got his zone contested. So I'm going to advance up and see if I can't pull off some sprays on Tiberion. So go in, spray, hit Tiberion, but kill the beast handlers, which is more important to me.
Turn 3. Crap. I have lost the Desert Hydra, and I've lost 2/3 of the Legends of Halaak, all for nothing. Yeah, that feat turn is pretty potent. So now it's a matter of trying to figure out, what am I going to do? I did not upkeep Ignite. I did not upkeep Rapport because, well, the beast was dead, so there was no reason to keep Rapport up on it. And one thing that's kind of hard to see, because it's kind of hard to see, is the fact that Taodark actually brought in his ambushing unit to the lower end there. Oh no, he did not bring him in. those spray guys were able to just do a lot of damage. So my plan going into this turn is to hopefully wipe out a bunch of stuff in the zone. So I'm hoping that Tiberion can actually take out the 2 guys that are there, the 2 monstrosities, and that those Keltarii not charging, just advancing, will be able to take out those 2 spray guys. I did a 2-man CMA, and I was able to kill the one, but I was not as effective against the second one. So there, I do my advances with the reposition to get him kind of back away. What you saw there was the Extoller shot the monstrosity and rolled phenomenally well. Did some serious damage to it. So I activate my caster. He pops his feet. I'm sorry. I activate the Willbreaker. He puts up Puppet Master on my caster. My caster then activates, pops his feet, charges the monstrosity. I thought I had the ability to use my mount if I don't do impacts, but he said, it was found out that I could only do impacts with the mount on a charge, so that's what I did. I was able to kill off the beast, and then sprint was my next option after I tried to stranglehold the beast, the monstrosity, the purplish looking monstrosity there, because I did not want it to come after me. So I'm able to do stranglehold, and I sprinted backwards. So now that I'm back, I should be out of harm's way. I now activate the beast handlers. They come up, they do their happy joy thing of conditioning and enraging, and I was able to also put up Ignite on Tibi. So, that's what I did with the Shaman. The Shaman actually did Craft Talisman to extend the range of my spell, which allowed me to get Tiberion within Ignite range. So I put Ignite up on him, I Strangleheld, the rest of the turn you pretty much know. And now Tiberion was able to charge for free because of prodding, and he charged in, killed off the wounded monstrosity, and then pretty much spent the rest of his turn swinging on the, I guess at that point in time, unhurt, undamaged. At the time, Tiberion was swinging at POW 22, I want to say, so kind of offset his feats.
Mercenaries, turn 3. Ugh, that sucks. So, arguably from a point scale of trading 2 monstrosities for a gargantuan and a feat, I'm still, from a nutritional standpoint, I'm okay with that. Like, I'm okay with trading two low point, 14-point wreckers for a gargantuan. The problem that it's caused is because I've kind of split myself for the scenario where I had 2 wreckers on one side and 2 wreckers on another side, I have not positioned myself in a way that I can necessarily get work done with my wreckers and still provide enough damage output for his scenario. I opt for to ambush this turn, so I'm going to bring in my ambushing min unit of Bender ambushing. They're going to help me continue to contest the zone, as well as potentially kill some of that infantry because they can combine melee. My wreckers are going to go. One's just going to swing over the fence to ungum the the green monstrosity at the top because I'm going to use him to threaten Xerxis, to basically say, if you don't get out of your zone, I'm going to have a wrecker on you. And then the one single Overlord that lived last turn is going to go in and get some sprays in to remove some of the Keltarii. The sprays, I'll admit, this time around, the sprays were not necessarily getting me what I wanted. So the wrecker goes in and I kill that one Keltarii. I'm not able to beat back because you can only beat back now when the model's still alive that you can advance towards. So he kind of just sits there, which is fine because he's there, he's ready. The obstruction's kind of protecting him from anything that might be in the zone, and he's threatening Xerxis with some damage. So activating the Overlords again, we're going in and we're spraying. We're trying to get some damage on both Tiberion and onto the Legend of Halaak to remove that last Legend of Halaak. Put some of my other Overlord unit into the zone to contest it, and the sprays are just having a hell of a time removing this Legend Halaak from the table. He is truly the legend of the unit. But after 5, we finally get him down. So we're just advancing up. Now I've got a Tiberion in the zone, and I'm kind of concerned about it. Gum him up and prevent him from getting to my caster.
Turn 4. Well, now Tibi is pretty much locked in. My zone is being flooded by whatever those undead, kettlehead guys are. I do not upkeep Ignite, because there's nothing really I need to keep up Ignite for on Tibi, because he doesn't really swing on anything that needs to have that much extra. So I activate the Willbreaker. He comes up, puts Puppet Master up on the Extoller. Then the last of my Keltarii, they advance. I'm just trying to do what I can to whittle down the unit that's there. I take out the one guy, fail to kill the other guy. I reposition 3. My hope is that I can keep him somewhat, contained. The Extoller activates, boosts the shot in the combat, because I really need that guy to die. Because I want to be able to free up Tiberion to do what he needs to do. So now I'm measuring out for my Shaman to have my Shaman move forward. So the hope is to get the Shaman up there with the speed being speed 8. He advances normally. He goes up, makes his swing. 8 was able to kill the one model. He buys another attack on the other guy. Unfortunately, is not able to kill him. There's still, I think, one guy kind of No, I'm sorry. Tiberion's actually really badly damaged. So I'm trying to make a hole for Xerxis, because the plan for this turn is to actually get to try to score a point this turn. I'm hoping to be able to score 3. So I get my caster. He's up far enough. I actually cast for Stranglehold on that one guy. Unfortunately, he is in combat, so it puts him up to a really high defense. I fail to hit him. But I am towing the zone, so now I gotta place some math machine in my head to figure out how to kill the spray bots before they come up and just wipe out my caster sitting on 1 transfer. Because I do use the 1 to heal Tiberion for an additional point, because he needed to be healed. And now we're just measuring the distances, and the thought process here is that if I can get that first guy with the Tetsubo, not charging but walking up, I can get the first guy with the Tetsubo, then swing on the objective with the other 2 attacks, killing that, and between those 2 I should be able to get within the distance needed to start swinging on the other guys that are also in the zone, clearing out most of those little spray guys. Even though they're like POW 10, POW 12, enough of those things are going to hurt. Unfortunately, Tiberion cannot hit the broadside of a barn. So I just do what I have to kill the objective and pass turn.
Mercenaries, turn 4. So the scenario game has finally started on turn 4. Tiberion's gone in, he's killed the objective, and I don't necessarily have a lot on the table that can necessarily continue to contest turn after turn. There's a lot of weak Cephalyx that I have a good defense, but he can boost to kill them with either Tiberion or the caster. So I have a legit concern that he's going to win now on scenario. So I look at an opportunity. He's got his Shaman close to his caster. Now I can't charge his caster from... I'm doing some math real quick here on one of my templates to see what my odds are. He doesn't have an opportunity to charge Xerxis, but that troll wrecker behind the wall has a potential of charging the champion in order to beat back the champion to get to Xerxis. So Cyphon, because I don't have anything over there really that can ding him up, because that agitator that's standing next to him is going to have to be the agitator that puts up the agitate bubble. And I've already ran in my slavers, so I can't necessarily use them. I'm going to have to actually feed my monstrosity focus, so I send over 3 focus from Cyphon to my monstrosity, so that he's fully fueled up and ready to go. And then I activate Cyphon, and I forget what exactly I did. I remember I had to spray, and I think I tried killing off the Extoller, which is probably a mistake. I was a cash grab that I didn't necessarily need to do. Here I'm activating the slavers, just kind of getting them out of the way. I'm going to get a swing in with the slaver to try and kill the drudge, and then I'm going to basically use my overlords to spray. I'm going to get some early damage in to kind of secure the assassination. So get some early damage in so that I can clear out some of the Beastmasters, so that I'm removing his support, and then getting, I think I got like 3 or 4 points of damage in on the caster to solidify my potential of pulling off this assassination, trim down those extra points, and then also to kill both the slaver that is next to Xerxes, as well as the beast handler that was base to base with the shaman, that would prevent me from actually being able to beat back the shaman. So here the agitator goes up, he puts the agitate bubble up, and then I go into it and I'm like, alright, cool, we're going to go in, we're going to activate, and my opponent's like, do you still have up onslaught? And I realize I don't. I had spent all of my focus and completely forgot that I needed onslaught, because a teeny tiny amount of his base would have clipped that fence piece in order for me to pull the charge off. And it's not like I could pull off at a different angle, because I needed a straight line in order to get to that charge. So my assassination, my grand plans of winning this out, got tossed out the window because I didn't have enough focus to upkeep onslaught. So I just run him in to make sure that Xerxes can't come charging into my caster and kill my caster over the fence. And then I go into with the monstrosity. Monstrosity fails to kill the objective somehow. I go in with my slavers to try and kill the objective and the Keltarii, because I'm like, cool, if I can't win on assassination, let's get the scenario game started. Let's start the scenario with 2 points. And through all my swinging and beating and bashing and everything that happened, the stupid objective is alive with 3 hit points. And I'm just like, what the hell? Like, everything falling apart in this turn. And it's potentially because I got tilted on the onslaught, but like everything just fell apart for me here, and I was like, what the hell am I going to do now?
Alright, turn 5. I am not sure how that objective is still standing. It has like 4 or 5 boxes left. Tibi is still standing. My caster is still standing. Of course, he has some damage to him. But now I'm back up to full. And I think the shaman is actually failed his frenzy check. And because it goes by line of sight, luckily for me, the Extoller is behind his line of sight. So he charges one of the little floating guys. You know, the fully boosted to hit and damage is kind of nice. But I failed to kill him. So I advance forward with my caster, and I start swinging on the little spray bots. Now at this point in time, I have my caster, I have Tiberion, I have the Shaman, and one Beast Handler, and the Extoller. And it's not, it is not looking pretty for me. I am really dwindling down on anything that's going to be able to do much to the heavies he still has on the table. So I have to do something this turn. So spending one for charging. Oh no, I'm sorry. Did I charge? Maybe I didn't charge. Maybe I just trampled. But I ended up swinging on the one guy, backing up, and I wasn't close enough to anybody else to swing on anybody else. So I riled up for the additional point I needed. I moved the Extoller into the zone to hopefully do some damage, and he shot and didn't do as much as I was hoping for to the atrocity that's sitting in the zone.
Mercenaries, turn 5. So my fears have come true. He's pretty much got a dominant control over my zone. I can throw in some Cephalyx to kind of... I'm going to contest him this turn, obviously. I'm not going to let him win on my turn. But I don't have anything that's going to firmly control my zone. Now, this turn I'll finally be able to kill the objective, so I'll get a point there. I'll be able to control the objective. I'll get 2 points. And then I'll go to 3 points in his turn, because I'm going to make sure that I kill basically anything that is potentially within range, either kill or engage anything that's potentially within a run range or a charge range to get in and contest the zone. So I can guarantee that I'm going to get 3 points in the following turn. But I don't have anything that's legitimately going to contest the zone for any length of period of time. I don't have anything that's really going to, besides the wrecker that's in the other zone, I don't have anything that can really take care of Tiberion. So, you know, gum up as much as I can, put stuff in the zone, praying maybe his dice go cold, and, you know, prevent anything from getting into the zone, and then run Cyphon for dominate.
Alright, turn 6. Wow, this is getting sad. All I can hope to do now is I have to kill off, I think, 3 models, or 2 models. If I can kill off 2 models, I will get my final 2 points and win on scenario. So I take my caster, I charge him in, he does impacts, is able to kill the 2 with the impacts, sprints backwards, puts rapport up on Tiberion. I boost it to hit onto that one guy in his back because I need to make sure I hit him. And I'm able to hit him. I forget what it is that made it to where my guy died as well. But I was able to pull off the scenario. Thanks for watching.
So the game ends at 3-5. Had, by some grace of will, his dice gone super cold, and I would have, you know, had something in the zone to contest his domination. I could have run Cyphon in to dominate, and then run the single Cephalyx that was at the bottom of the forest in to contest him even further, and then won the game at a 5-4. It didn't turn out that way. You know, woulda, coulda, shoulda. I feel like the turn in which I tried going after his caster and failed. Obviously, the big turnaround there was that I didn't have Onslaught up to get over the wall. But maybe that should have been a scenario where I led with the attempt to go after him first before I activated Cyphon. So that way, if it did turn south, then I could have just ditched the effort of Cyphon trying to kill the Extoller and just gone straight for Cyphon running for the zone and potentially getting 2 to dominate in the following turn. It is what it is. You know, sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, and I'll take a loss at 3-5. There was still a game there, and we will see how it turns out next time. See you next week.